Well, hello and welcome. This is another miniature painting video. And I'm going to, today, be painting a new monster from the monster manual. It is called the Grick. So I apologize about the goblins. I was painting those the last time, and I mentioned that I would be doing a video to finish those up. I still might post it, but I was having such horrible problems on that last one, just figuring out my video equipment. So now that it's all finished, I feel pretty confident in this new setup that I have. Okay, so again, painting the Grick today, and I'm going to start off, I'm going to add a little water to my wet palette here. Get it good and hydrated. Yeah, maybe just a little more. That looks good. That should keep us going. Okay. Today, yeah, we're painting the Grick from the monster manual, and he's a really happy little fellow, as you can see here. And I have the Vallejo Game Color line. I'm going to start off with heavy black green. And yeah, we'll get started here. Try to be a little conservative with my paints. Tend to get a little crazy sometimes, just pouring them all out all over the place. Okay, so, all right. Let me grab one of my favorite brushes here. It is a Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. It is their dry brush. One of the few brushes that I use on a very frequent basis here. And so yeah, I'm just going to dip into the heavy green, and I'm just going to start on his wormy flesh here. So the Grick, yeah, is a, sorry, I do apologize if I move off camera. I'm going to do my best to stay where you can see me. Oops, okay. Sorry about that. A little jam up on the phone. And so yeah, I'm painting the Grick, and I am using the heavy black green. So the Grick is coming up in, the reason I'm trying to get him painted so quickly is because he's in the campaign of Lost Mines of Phandelver. And oh, I apologize, that's a spoiler for any of you who are playing through that. I do apologize. But they come up in other campaigns as well. I know that there's going to be some in a campaign that I'm going to run soon afterwards from the Tales of the Yawning Portal. And that one is the Forge of Fury. The way that the Tales of the Yawning Portal works is that there's multiple adventures from the past. Some of them are quite popular, and they've remade them for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So there's adventures from kind of like the greatest hits of Dungeons & Dragons, all retooled so that they will work with Dungeons & Dragons 5e. So yeah, I've decided to go from the Lost Mines of Phandelver, which my party is running right now, and kind of blend in some of the campaign. So Lost Mines of Phandelver is from the Dungeons and Dragons starter set. And you can buy it on Amazon for maybe $15. It's really quite a good adventure for the price. And then there is also the Essentials Kit. So there's the starter set and the Essentials Kit. And the Essentials Kit has another starter adventure called Dragons of Icespire Peak, which is another pretty good one. I like Lost Mines of Phandelver a little better. And so Lost Mines of Phandelver takes your party from levels 1 through 5. And to continue afterwards, I've decided that I would like to run the Forge of Fury, because I feel like it really connects nicely with the story from Lost Mines of Phandelver. So that's where we're going. Now, Forge of Fury is actually set for levels 3 through 6. And, oops. Yeah, that's... like I mentioned, that's maybe a little bit of a problem, because through Lost Mines of Phandelver, they're supposed to get to level 5, so they're going to be past the level they should be at when they start. But my intention is that I can kind of fix that a little bit by giving them a couple tougher challenges. So there's a few challenges that I can beef up a little bit and make it more in terms of more in line for parties that will be level 5. Okay. So yeah, so this little Grick will come in handy for Lost Mines of Phandelver. There's a couple spots they show up. And Forge of Fury as well, I believe. If I am not mistaken. I could be mistaken. It might just be for Lost Mines of Phandelver. But I think they're in both campaigns. So, yeah, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about these guys while I'm painting them here. Gricks. They're, as you can see, they kind of look like the sandworms from Beetlejuice, and they kind of act like them too, or possibly the sandworms from Dune. They're certainly a lot smaller, but they sort of remind me of them. So they are, you can see, pretty wormy. They have a really worm-like body here. And they like to hide in the shadows. They're usually in rocky places, so they like to wait in the rocks for their prey. And they generally kind of slide down out of the rocks in the ceiling and ambush. They have the ability to really disguise themselves. So if you are going to have a Grick attack, you want the element of surprise, really. You don't want them to know that they're you could give away some hints. So one of the things that the monster manual says about the Grick is that a lot of times they are kept in certain areas by intelligent creatures. So somebody might have, not, I wouldn't say that they're pets, but somebody might have a Grick kind of walled up in an area that is sort of a passage that would be traversed, and then they will they'll kind of use the Grick as sort of a booby trap, right? Booby trap. And yeah, so the Grick will come down and eat whoever it is that's passing through that area, and then all of their belongings or possessions can be collected later after the Grick has starved to death. So what you could do is have a Grick in an area, and then so if let's say you were an evil bugbear or something of that nature, and you were trying to trap some humans walking through the area, well, you could put a couple rocks to in an area where there was a Grick. You could kind of force the adventurers into a chasm that was well known for having Gricks in it, and then when they got in there, you could wait till they were eaten, and then you could seal up the cave and just let the Grick starve. And I mean, obviously, you know, this is ethically and morally a little questionable, but, you know, hobgoblins, bugbears, things of that nature, sometimes, yeah, they might do something like that to people, because, you know, let's face it, people do some pretty mean things to bugbears and hobgoblins. So, yeah, they're just getting their revenge. Okay, so I'm going to switch over real quick. I'm using Citadel's contrast colors, Blood Angels Red. And I'm just going to show you here kind of the picture of the Grick when it's painted. And you can see it's got kind of like, it's got a cherry red mouth area. It's got kind of a red mouth hole. So I think that this will work well, and we'll see how this works. But sometimes I really like these Citadel contrast colors just for making things easy. So if it doesn't work, I'll go back and do something else, but we'll see. Put a little in the palette here. I'm not going to need a whole lot. Okay, I think that's good. Go ahead and close this up nice and tight. Yeah, I tend to stick with the Vallejo Game Color line for the most part. However, I cannot deny that the Citadel contrast line can make things very easy when painting miniatures. And the reason why is because in the situations where you can use them, they're sort of an all-in-one. They have the paint and the wash, like sort of the base coat, the paint, the wash, and the highlight all in one. And the way that they work is they pool into areas and kind of change color. You can see how dark red that is. So yeah, they can save you a little time. And in areas where they break, they tend to be a little lighter. So you kind of get that that effect that you go for when you're switching between a shade and a wash, or a wash and a base coat. And yeah, they make it nice and easy. So I am supposed to have this guy set and ready to go by our game night, and that's coming up soon. That's actually, yeah, today it's technically Wednesday already, so tomorrow. I'm going to, on Thursday, I'm going to switch over to a squid pink for, I'm going to shake this a little more. Yeah, so I have the Grick, and then I also need a drow painted as well. So yeah, I got a little work to do here. Okay, and hopefully that'll be enough. Okay, so back to my base coat brush here. Yeah, so these guys, these Gricks, they're not a lot of fun. But, oop, got just a little too much water in my brush here, and that's making this paint kind of flow into some of the places I wish it wasn't going. So, more about the Grick. So one of the actions that it has, well, let's start off with, it's got an armor class of 14. It uses natural armor. And whoops. And what that really means is that it's not too hard to hit. So you'd have to roll a 14 on a 20-sided die. But most of the time, most of the adventurers, they have a plus to hit of maybe 4 or 5. And so that means you'd have to roll maybe a 9 or a 10 to hit one of these, which isn't too hard, right? You should be able to, that's a 50% chance you're going to roll a number on a 20-sided die that is going to be able to hit one of these with its armor class of 14. So they're not too hard to hit. That's for the Grick anyway. The Grick Alpha might be a little beefier. We'll talk about him in maybe a later episode. Because tonight, I think, like I said, I'm just going to be painting this guy. Because, yeah, he's coming up in play so soon. So, okay, so that was the pink. Wash my brush out here, and I think I will switch over to bone white, and I'm going to use that for his beak. His little beak, he's got a little bird beak. His Grick that he likes to use, I'm sure, to suck people's brains out, possibly. Who knows? Maybe give little kisses? I don't know. Who knows, right? But I'm going to paint this in off-white, and let's see, I think I'm going to stick with this base coat brush, and yeah, just kind of dip it in here. Ooh. Okay. Oops. Make sure I'm on camera. And that seems to be working nicely. Give me a chance to kind of paint over some of these areas that I mistaked a little bit, and I might actually switch to a slightly finer brush. Yeah, I'm gonna do it because I'm just not wanting to go back and paint some of these areas that I've already done again. And oh, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself here. Well, no, I'm not. I'm gonna switch to a liner. And these brushes are great. I actually feel almost embarrassed about this, but I picked this brush up at Target. And it is just absolutely one of my favorite brushes. It was, I got it for $1. And the way I was able to do that was the box was open. It was just this package. I walked over and I looked I was looking for paintbrushes, and I turned around and there was these brushes marked as clearance, and it was just a bag. And all of the brushes in it were scattered all over the place. And there was no price on it, but it was marked on the clearance. There was a yellow clearance sticker. And so, yeah, I just like these brushes. I was like, yeah, this is exactly kind of what I want. And you know, I've used a few different types of brushes from time to time, and oh gee, I apologize again. Apologize for being off camera. Yeah, and so these brushes, they were $1 because I asked the lady at the customer service how much they were, and she just said, well, how about $1? And I was like, yeah, I'd buy that for $1. And I did. I bought them for $1. Okay. I'm not sure about his belly. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm just not sure about his stomach. And I'm looking at all these different colors. And honestly, I'm thinking at this point, I want to check the heavy brown. I don't know that that's really what color it is. And in this piece of paper on this little thing, it doesn't look like heavy brown. Gosh, it almost looks more of a dead flesh. And I'm going to be honest though, I think I will do the heavy brown. See what that looks like. And then, yeah, come back in and use dead flesh over top of it. So yeah, I will just base coat his belly, and we'll see how it goes here. But yeah, so sometimes you can find nice deals if you're not scared to go up and ask. You know, one of the first rules of getting a discount is you have to ask for it. And yeah, I'm not scared. I ask for deals all the time. I love to haggle. A 10 for that, you must be mad. You know, haggle. So yeah, I was really happy to get that set of brushes for $1. And okay, anyway, back to the Grick. So the Grick, yeah, it has, first off, an ability. Well, oh, sorry. Armor class of 14, hit points. It has 27 hit points. And that means it's, well, you know, it's got a little life, I guess. Maybe about as much as your standard second level adventurer. I mean, it's not too beefy. I guess that's probably what you'd expect from a big worm creature. About 27 hit points worth of life. Yeah, dear. Let me see. Yeah. Switch to this brush here. Yes, this is another little brush that I got in the dollar brush pack from Target, and I just love it. So, yeah, 27 hit points. For this wormy guy. And it's not very fast. It can move. Your average speed of a person is 30 feet per turn. And I think we say a turn's about 6 seconds. So about 30 feet every 6 seconds. And that's not super quick. I mean, it's no cheetah. And what else here? It also, oops, got a little tail down here I got to get. So I need just a little bit more of this brown. Some more heavy brown. Yeah, this is the extra opaque. Great for base coating. Just fantastic for base coating. But I'm going to need something with just a little bit more green in it once all is said and done. So yeah, they're not super fast. These Gricks just maybe fast enough to get up there and kind of suck your brains a little bit, and then back into the crevice of its hiding by the end of the turn. Although they don't have any special abilities that allow them to do that. Although they do have an ability called Stone Camouflage. And the other nice thing about these guys, if you're plan to use one on your group of adventurers, is that this might be one of the first monsters that your party might encounter at their lower levels that has a lot of resistances. This Grick, it's got some resistances, let me tell you. It has resistances to damage, almost like a barbarian has resistances to damage. So yeah, they are, and resistance means that if they are hit with any one of these types of damage, they only take half damage from it. So yeah, so their damage resistances kind of make it, yeah, a little more resistant to most forms of damage than anything they've probably come up against at this point. So yeah, it has bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, damage resistance. So any of those are going to be halved. They're going to be cut in half. Okay, so I'm now going to do some washes on this. He's going to get washed up. And for washes, I'm gonna, I don't know. I've got this red wash here, and he doesn't. Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about kind of the way that his belly looks, and I think I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna actually. I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna use this umber wash. Umber wash here. So I'm gonna use this umber wash on his belly to just kind of get into some of the cracks and crevices. Oh, I'm definitely getting this guy done before our game Thursday. I was a little worried. I thought that this was going to be a little more time consuming, but we're rolling right along here. So I'm gonna use this umber wash, and I love the way that washes just kind of really define those nooks and crannies. It's just like the butter on a Thomas's English muffin when you put this wash on. I mean, it does magical things. Magical things, I say. But you definitely want to make sure that you finished painting your mini before you start to put the washes on. As you can see, I missed a spot under his chinny chin. And when you're applying a wash, you don't want it to pool up too much in any one area. You really want to, keep it moving around here. Kind of slosh it back and forth until you get everything. Don't let it get too stagnant in one spot. Because it's just really meant to bring out the texture. Okay, now, I think for the green back of his skin, I actually want something a little darker. I really want to define those recesses, but so I think I'm going to use a black wash for that. And we'll see how it works. Yeah, this is Vallejo's Game Wash, black wash. And I'm just going to use the same method that I used before while putting this on. Trying to keep it flowing as best as I can here. And just really see if I can bring out those textures. Yeah, so these little wormy guys are often found in caves, abandoned ruins, any place where there's a lot of stones they can hide in, because one of their abilities is called stone camouflage. Excuse me. And what that does is it allows the Grick to have advantage on any dexterity stealth checks that it might use to hide in the rocky terrain. And so what does that really allow us a Grick to do? Well, that's a fair question, and I'm glad that you asked. Hiding is one of those least understood aspects of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but one of the most important, really, when it comes down to it. Because hiding determines a lot of times whether or not there is surprise. There's going to be surprise, and when you're surprised, that essentially allows either the players or the monsters to have a turn, well, one turn where they're the only ones who get to act. Just like Final Fantasy, when it says you're surprised and all the monsters take their swings and you just kind of stand there, and then at the beginning of the next round your party actually gets to do something. But that can have a huge difference, sometimes even life and death. So that Grick gets to live just a little bit longer because of its ability to surprise, possibly by remaining hidden and not seen, because it gets advantage on that dexterity stealth check to hide in rocky terrain. So that's where you're going to find these guys. You're going to find them in the rocks, and yeah, they're just going to be hiding in there, just chilling. Okay, now back to the Umber Wash. I think I'm gonna Umber Wash his little beak here. Oops. So yeah, I'm just gonna Umber Wash his beak. Define that just a little bit. And then, yeah, so he has, yeah, I think I'm going to use a pale gray wash over top of his little squiddy suction cups here, because I do want to give that some depth of color, but I think a black might, I don't know, I'm feeling like a black might just kind of kill it, you know what I mean? It might just overdo it. So I'm going to try this nice pale gray wash from Vallejo's Game Color line. It is hopefully going to be just tame enough that it gives me some shadows and doesn't meh. I don't know. I guess. Well, yeah. It's not completely overpowering the pink. Maybe what I will do is, yeah, I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. I'm going to put just a drop of the black wash in there as well. And yeah. Okay, yeah, I like that because I don't know if you can see it, but it's allowing me to really make out those tentacles on there, those little suction cup tentacles a little more, and I wasn't able to see them quite enough with just the pale gray, but that extra little dab, and the black itself would maybe just be a little too strong. So I kind of like that. Okay, maybe I'm going a little too much here. I'm just going to try to guide it along. And okay. Okay. Now, so that is the base coat for the most part finished. And the one thing that I do kind of enjoy doing here is just trying my best to kind of make it a little more like a rock. Maybe get a little stony surface. And so while I'm waiting for the base coat to dry, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do a little of the base here at the bottom. It's all about the base, And so the way that I'm going to do that is, yeah, I'm going to get my not so special brush. I'm going to use a little of this original tacky glue. I don't know. I normally just use Elmer's, but I figured what the heck. And so I've got my tacky glue here, and so while I'm kind of waiting for this to dry, I'm gonna dip into my tacky glue. And okay. And I'm gonna, just paint this on here. Basing is one of those things that, done correctly can add a lot to your miniature. And when you mess it up, it really, it kind of detracts some of the attention from the great job that you did on your painting, because it just looks ridiculous along the bottom. And so hopefully I'll be doing the former and not the latter. We shall see. So yeah, I'm just going to I'm going to put some of this tacky glue on, and then so I'm just painting this on here. And again, I apologize for constantly moving out of the camera's line of sight. I just love to do that. So I'm going to sorry about that. The camera decided to stop recording. I might be running out of space, which means I need to work quickly and go upload these videos onto my laptop. So yeah, what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to pour some of these rocks. It's Battleground Brown. I'm not sure if I have the no, I've got them mixed up. These, what I'm actually going to use are the Battlefield rocks. And so I'll start with these Battlefield rocks here, and I'm just going to put the mini over top of this tray. And I'm just going to kind of glue a couple of them into place here. Ew, these are just like, oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, exactly what I didn't want to do. Yeah, so these are just like little ground up tiny pieces of cork. Oh. But no, they do